Okay, so let's see. This is where am I going to start? Okay, so it's 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. Black ice on the road because it, rained. It got cold, and then it didn't get cold, right? So it was black ice, and I'm cruising home, 1 o'clock, and I fall off the road, right? I mean, and I fall off the road, meaning like I disappear into the, down the, it wasn't a cliff, it was just a big hill, right? In brush and, in the wilderness kind of shit, right? And I'm laying on the ceiling of the vehicle, right? And my back, I mean, it's just like, one day I'm, 1 second I'm fine, the next thing I feel I'm slipping, and then I'm on, I tumble down this, this hill in the brush and weeds and, just, it's like I'm mulching myself into the environment, and I stop upside down. I'm on the ceiling of my of the vehicle, and I'm on my back. And I've had my bell rung before, playing football, and it reminded me of, I have to lay on my back for about 2 minutes until I get my breath back. But this wasn't the case. I couldn't get up. Something was wrong with my back. And I said, well, I've never got to the point where I couldn't get up, right? So just wait, shake it off and get it up, right? And then my right arm felt like I was slept on it, right? That feeling? And I couldn't breathe. No, I could breathe, but I couldn't talk. Like I couldn't yell. I could yell like this. Ah, something like I smashed a lung or something, right? Ah. So I couldn't yell, and I'm waiting. Where's the people gonna come? When's when's people gonna run down this hill and get me? And it doesn't happen, right? I don't understand, right? I don't understand why no one's here. Well, it's late. Yeah, well, they're gonna see me, right? And I'm checking. I'm bleeding somewhere, right? I don't know where I'm bleeding, and I can't move, right? And it's an injury I've never had before. I never felt this kind of injury where I couldn't move anything, right? I can move my legs, and it's dark, and the light starts to show, right? In the morning it starts to come out, and I realize that I'm tangled up in the brush of trees, and it was branches, trees, brush, right? Not big lumbering trees, but brush, and no one could see me, right? I said no one could see me, and I said they must see the skid mark, on the road, and they'll say, where did the skid mark go? I could see the time, right? And no one was coming, right? And then I started to wonder, how long till they come? That they are not coming, right? Unless there's some hikers that decide to hike in the winter, they're gonna see me, in the brush. But other than that, there's no one gonna come because they can't see me. Even if a helicopter flew, they couldn't see me, right? So there was a moment where it turned to, worry to shock, right? And it just hit me, right? Like, no one's gonna get me, right? No one's gonna find me. And it's been, My arm's frozen, and I can't move because my back is broke. I mean, I didn't think it was a neck injury, but that's what it ended up being. I thought it was my back, right? I just bruised my back, because my legs still work, right? And so there was a point there where I said, oh, "You're not coming," and then that's when shock hit me, right? And shock feels like your passport. But when you have shock, you can't think like that. It's just like, oh shit, uh, and then you come to. But that's shock. And once that shock hit me, everything changed, right? My mindset changed. Even the people stuck in caves, they die of heart attacks, I think, because something happens and that's the last thing. And agitated, right? Agitated, like I couldn't, I I couldn't relax, right? I just like a chattering monkey, right? Just said, yeah, I'll die. I'm gonna die, right? I am gonna die, right? And as soon as I accepted it, like, yeah, it's okay. I don't have to force myself to, uh, stay alive. And why was I doing it anyway, right? It didn't do any good. So I just said, yeah, I'm gonna die. And as soon as I had that feeling, like, yeah, it's okay that I'm gonna die, right? And in my mind, I had all these things. My parents, my car go, my, everything will be gone. It'll be, and things will move on, and I'm fine, right? Everything's fine. And as soon as that realization happened in my head, I completely relaxed, and it was fine, right? It was like zero, no anxiety. It was just quiet. And it reminded me, a friend of mine, he was telling me a story about how he drowned, man. His parents, he drowned in a pool, and then no one realized he drowned, but fidgeting, and it was just peace, and I fell asleep. And then it was super, super cold, right? I woke up cold, and I woke up to the sound of someone saying, "Are you awake?" And it was a woman. "Are you awake?" And first it's in your mind, and then I see a flashlight, like a flashlight light into the cabin, right? And I wake up and I said, "Hey, it's me, this and that. I've been here for whatever," and I started babbling, and she was a real calm. I mean, I could imagine she was 35, blonde, a sandy blonde hair to her shoulders, and I could see the silhouette of her in the window, like she had the presence of mind to not to put the flash in the cabin, right? She left it outside, so I just saw the silhouette of her. I could kind of see like the trees, the trees or the bush in back of her, and then her silhouette, right? And she says, "Yeah, if you didn't have your lights on, I would have never seen you." Right? And I was thinking about lights. And as she's talking, I'm erratic again, right? So I'm babbling about this and that, and but she's really calm, and she's just talking to me like she was talking to me over a fence, like she was my neighbor, and she was talking to me about, that the paramedics had come on. I contacted the paramedics, and they should be here. And so I I was still like I couldn't, I was delirious, right? And she reached her hand inside the she reached her hand inside the window and she held my hand, right? She says, hold my hand. And the minute it's right when I held her hand, I started to cry, right? I just like, it was like I was safe or whatever, right? And she kept talking to me like a normal woman would, right? And and then I don't know how long it was after that, but she, then I started to hear all these cars arrive and ambulance, and it was the base, the military was there, right? Right? They must have came in with the priest to my parents over my bed, right? And my mom crying. And I said, oh, there's Mom, right? And she's crying because she's good to see me, right? Because I didn't realize what was happening to me, right? I was just waking up. And, oh, man, they're here, right? And they look good. Glad they're here. I feel safer now, right? And along with them's a priest, right? They must have came in with the priest. And the priest started to, do the prayers and all that. And I fell asleep while he was doing that. I lined out, right? Lined out or something. It was a code blue, and I had no idea, right? I just died. And I came back, and they said, yeah, we're going to have to get... And some of my organs failed. Or I just fell. I mean, I just started, So I said, yeah, I'm going to die. And I didn't know. I didn't know. And I must have been asleep for a couple of days, too. Because I lost a lot of blood, right? And it was a head injury. That's where all the blood was coming from. It was, that's why I didn't see it, because it's in the back of my head when I... And why wouldn't she come back to thank her, right? One thing is, I only thought I was there overnight, but I wasn't. I was there 2.5 days. I must have just passed out for the extra day. But I didn't know. I didn't know until they said, yeah, everyone was looking for you, My tongue, it's like I had my mouth open. And I lost all this blood. And how did the lady come down and call the paramedics? Because there was no cell phones that day. In that time there was no cell phones. So she says, yeah, I called the paramedics. I think she said that. She called the paramedics. That's how they got there. And how did she know I was there? Right? And then call the paramedics. Like, if she saw a light, wouldn't she go to see if there was someone down there, right? But she called the paramedics. And she never visited me, right? She never came back. And when I remember, I said, can you tell the paramedic that if she can come by, I want to thank her, right? And no one listened to me, because at the time I was saying that she was in her gown, her nightgown. And I said, well, I was probably hallucinated, because those smocks that they wear in the hospital, they could be looked at gowns, right? Like they're you know what I mean? Like they're smocks that they wear. So maybe I just thought that she was wearing her gown, but it's actually smock. And they said, no, she's not a paramedic. And we don't have anybody that's a female in our paramedic group, right? And so they never got back to me. And my dad actually told me this, right? Like, yeah, you're telling them that she was in a nightgown, and they just shrugged it off like you're delirious when you're talking to them. And you're delirious. So I never heard from her. And why wouldn't she come back to say hello at least, right? Because the base is, it's a small town, right? And you get racked up like that. Everyone knows, right? Well, why didn't she come by? She never just showed up. And how did she get word to the the paramedics. You know what I mean? Like, she would have had to come down. I mean, if you were there, you'd see the lights, you'd go, and then would you look to see if someone was alive, or would you just go and get a paramedic? So that was a mystery, right? You know, how did what a coincidence! All these things happen, just happened to be in place where I got found, and how come I never heard from her, right? That's the biggest mystery for me. Like, she never. I mean, if she's gonna call the ambulance and come down and sit with me for however long it was in the cold, hold my hand, and pretty much, rescued me, right?
Remember me, you were so young. How could I tell you? Remember me, I am the one who saved your life that night. I was the one who would not abandon you. Even in death, I was the one who would not leave you. I used my freedom to protect you, and all the while direct you. Do you remember me this time? Even in death, I gave you life. I gave you life. Wanted to deserve a place beside you. This time when I reached out my hand, it reached all the way to heaven. Remember me, I gave you life. You would not take it. Your suffering was all in vain. It's almost over now. Goodbye. It's almost over now. Goodbye. It's time I release you from this life. Don't turn your back on paradise.
You lean into it, right? Like, lean into this change and make it better, right? And don't be afraid of it.